Okay. So thank you for making this. I'm Lady Gisa. I'm the SEO, but also I have been doing those virtual meetings. I think for about 6 years by now. So this is virtual meetings for anybody who is interested within the SEA equestrian activities. This is not only for equestrian marshals or KEOs, which would be the Kingdom Equestrian Officers. So they can be joined by anybody. So if you like what we do in these meetings, feel free to join us every first Tuesdays of the month, just like promoting myself. So thank you for making it today. Mistress Arabella is here as well. I assume everybody knows her. She's our society Earl Marshal. So, and when it comes to the insurance, she has been doing the most heavy lifting over the last months, since our last meeting. Well, actually, wasn't in here this meeting. So I've been working on what is going on for the insurance. It is a huge topic, and I know nobody likes the changes. We just have to work on maintaining our equestrian program within the SEA because the equestrians became, I think, a third of the expenses, or about a third of the expenses from the SEA. And it's a huge junction from it. And to maintain the program itself within the SEA, we really need to make sure we keep our expenses under control. So that is basically one of the purposes why we started to talk about changes. One of the things is insurance prices or premiums keep on going up. We have a lot of insurance certificates getting out, which maybe not everybody is familiar with that. That the fee you or your group is charged with at the event when you initiate an insurance certificate for the equestrians. Right now it's $200. This is not the entire sum of that certificate. Currently, $1,000, the society pays for it. So it is only a small little fraction. Your group is, or your kingdom is paying for it when you initiate the certificate, which was last year, it was, I think, 77 certificates. This year, we just got the numbers, is 75 certificates they ordered. So it's a lot of money going out for the society with each certificate ordered. So, two things for the purpose why we started, and I'm just going to share my screen because, as you know me probably, I have a little PowerPoint because it helps me to keep my thoughts organized and not flip-flop all over the place. So one of the purposes really is we're doing this to keep the program within the SEA instead of being too much of a financial burden and facing a possibility that we can't afford it anymore, really to see if a maximum amount of certificates we give the insurance when they create the policy also keeps the price in.
That is fun.
And while we have a big group, can everybody remain muted? Actually, Melissa, do you mind if I make you just co-host? So if somebody else talks, you can mute them for me?
I can try.
Yeah, it just distracts me when it comes in because I don't know if you guys have questions. And the questions are totally fine. I'm up for that. It's just, again, trying not to waste your time and trying to explain things first, and then let's go and talk. And in case I lose internet, Arabella has the co-host post. So she can also be on it. So anyhow, so one of the thoughts was like, if we offer the insurance a maximum of amount of certificates we will order, will that keep the insurance from increasing the premium for our equestrian certificates, um, as well as to keep the expenses controllable for the society because again, they've paid a huge chunk of it. So right now, as I understand it, and Arabella, feel free to correct me if I misunderstand something. The corporation, the SEA, for the USA and Canada equestrian events, we basically got that they were co-funding 50% of those 60 certificates we have. So this is basically where we have right now an understanding that 60 up to 60 certificates we order for the next year, 50% of the insurance premium, which right now we have $1,200,
$1,200
is
is
basically paid
basically paid by
by the
by
SCA,
the
the
SEA,
corporate
the
for
corporate
that.
for that.
And the
And the
group is,
group is
I'm gonna,
I'm gonna
somebody's giving me an
somebody's giving me an
echo.
echo.
There you go. Good. Um, and then basically, we pay $600 and the society pays $600. So this is basically right now how it looks like moving forward for next year. So currently, and we do not have the numbers from the insurance for 2026. We are hoping by giving us a cap that it will not get increase in price, but we are waiting for the final premium for 2026. So we basically will go and or the hosting group will pay six hundred, and then society will go and take care of the maximum or the other $600 up to 60 certificate. So at this point, we do not know should we need more of 60 certificates because we are in need of another one. Can we order? Would that be allowed by the insurance? Will that change the price? And what price would it be if we do want to have or need another one? Or if 60 is the maximum cap completely? Arabella, I have not seen any response as of today from the insurance. I know you emailed them, but I
Yeah,
didn't see anything
we don't
back.
have an answer yet, so
Okay.
we're still waiting.
So as of right now, our planning goes 60 certificates is the maximum cap. However, should we get that information, we can order additional. We will go and let everybody know, as well as what will be the price of that additional certificate, and will the society will pay for some of it, or will the hosting group or kingdom need to cover the entire fee of it? We don't know those answers yet. As soon as we find out, we will let you know. So we are still a little bit in limbo with some of this. So this is all a procedure we are working through still. So it's not cut in stone yet. So one of the things as well that we are trying to do to get to the 60 certificates. I think I mentioned at the beginning we had 77 on 2024. Right now it is 75 for this year, but there still might be some events out or data coming in for December. So the year's not over. Right now, they basically gave us the number. We had 75 this year. We are cutting basically 15 certificates that could have been practices or events. One of the ways we can go and limit our need for certificates by making sure we are using one certificate by location. I do assume by now everybody knows, but just to double check, every certificate is good for that location. If you use the same location for practices, for events, you need only one certificate. If you want to do an additional event or you need to change a date, you can ask for an addendum and change the date. You need to be mindful of the time allowance. Most of the time, you still need to have a minimum of 30 days to let the insurance know we need an addendum for that. But the changes of adding a date or changing a date is free. You're going still under one certificate. You do not need to go and reorder a new certificate for that. And within that, and I have this a little bit later again, but just also be mindful, and this would be like I use for myself in Pittsburgh area. I used to host in the last years 3 different practice locations to make it convenient to have a better radius around Pittsburgh. They were like an hour from each other, like north and half an hour north of Pittsburgh and half an hour east of Pittsburgh. One was more mounted archery and one was more games and youth. But it could have been consolidated from here on out, really to make sure if you have different practice locations, you could find a more center location. So instead of having 3 within, I don't know, 50-mile radius, really trying to see, can you do one location happen for the different practices or events, even if maybe one of the groups need to cross a border to practice or to have that their event in a different groups boundaries. And this really is where I talk to the KEOs, to talk to all the marshals and making really sure everybody understands the need of consolidating locations to minimize the need of activating equestrian certificates. Just to cut the expenses, to make sure we keep our program going, and all of those things are basically just mentioned above. I see a lot of chats or things popping up. USA and Canada, our insurance goes for both. Yes, and thanks, Arabella, already to answering that. So we did find that out. It took quite some time, but we did get the confirmation last month, I think, that our insurance goes for USA as well as Canada for that. Any questions before I go to the procedure change, the proposed changes we have in the procedure of how to order insurance? Maria.
So you said 30 days to change to make an addendum, and that's 30 days from the date you're. So okay, say I need a certificate for Memorial Day weekend in May, and they decided to push it back to June. Is that 30 days before the Memorial Day? So 30 days from the soonest date that whether you're changing or.
The information before this change came above was like it needs to be 30 days before the new date. But
okay.
Louise also mentioned they will try to work with us, but at least give them 30 days as a courtesy because it takes time and do all of that. Yeah. So we will have another talk, a discussion when we have all the other answers first, what are the deadlines? Because insurance ordering will be changing a little bit what is the hardcore deadlines on their end that we need to have before we us like the by due date 45 days before the event, 30 days, because we are having like a little double checking waiting period in it. So the days might be changing. Give us a month.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question if I could.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have currently with our regular practice, we have open dates. So we have a location, but we have a blanket policy. Our current policy goes Jan 1 to December 31st. Is that something we can do with Equestrian? So that way it's just open and we can, because that gives us max flex to use the facility kind of as we're able. And then there's also a second question, because we're going to start Equestrian. My plan was to start Equestrian for the first time ever in our branch in January. We have the facility, and the barony next door has the riders. So, that's kind of where that was going to go. And, excuse me, and the barony often uses our land because Vancouver, British Columbia doesn't have a whole lot of space for Equestrian anyways. So they come out to the valley where we are, which is a lot of farmland. And use our lands anyways. So we were going to use this facility. And if we get the certificate, is it simply a matter of both branches being like one branch being a doing it together, so that way we can all work off the same certificate?
So as of right, yes, you definitely can go and work on one certificate. As of right now, we need to see how many certificates there are for your kingdom, and if there is something for something new to start. The best thing I can tell you right now, because we do not have the number set for every locations right now, and we don't know how many extras we have available, talk to your KEO.
Okay.
They will go and get the numbers hopefully within 7 days. I'm getting my end done, and I will go and be able to finalize the numbers. Sorry for being vague, but yes, if you have one location, more than one barony can use it. The certificate is by location. If you know you want to go and have practice every single Saturday, put it on your certificate every Saturday from January 1st to December 31st. And basically, then you can have practices every single Saturday.
Yeah,
On the
because
certificates, you do not need to put your time of event in there anymore. You're just giving them the dates.
Perfect. Yeah, because I know for us, and recognizing that there was only 60 certificates, is if it turns out that we are number 61, as I read it, the society will no longer cover half of it. So we would be on the hook for all 1,200 USD for the certificate, and our branch has already said we'll pay it.
You will pay it?
Actually, in fact, our master of stables has said he will pay it.
Wow. Okay. So, and
because we're committed to doing it.
Okay, we can go and have that conversation as well as after that. I'm definitely always supporting of our program and hope or help everybody to make it grow. So in your case, because it seems like there's a lot of people, that's one of the other things we're really looking for the events that are well visited, the practices that always have multiple people to keep them for sure alive. For a practice where there's one rider, maybe two, maybe those might be the ones who might not be as to survive on official practices. And I'm not telling anybody to make a practice now unofficial if you have no personal insurance or anything else. So that was not the solution for that. But these are the things why I'm asking the KEOs to work with me on in every single kingdom and be looking at the different events, cite the amount of people participating over the last couple of years to see what can we do to maintain our program, keep it growing within the limitations we currently have. So come on, touch base with me, poke me, and I'll work with you on your specific situation. But for right now, January might not work for starting. I'm just letting you know right now the sounds maybe not 100% realistic. If we are ready, that you can go and get started in January, because you have the 30 or 45 days of insurance waiting time to get it initiated.
We put in our request for 2026, all our 2026 insurances. We put them in October 1.
Okay. Then I probably hear from Louise that you're one of the certificates pending right now. Okay. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. So I would like to go over the protocol as we kind of proposed it right now. And I think you've seen it on the social media, more or less. This is basically right now where we said going to do a lot of the things is really for the Kingdom Equestrian officers. They're doing a lot of the extra heavy lifting and bookkeeping on that one. And with other KEOs who are here in this meeting, I will go over all of that with you specifically when we have more detail and finalizing it. So really for us, when you want to go and have an event, everybody has to contact the KEO. It always has to be had been the protocol to include the KEO when you plan an equestrian event. However, I do know a lot of equestrian marshal sidestepped or missed that step and didn't include the KEO in their planning. For next year, this is really, really crucial, because we need to make sure we don't have random people just ordering certificates and then we don't have any certificates left as planned because somebody just jumped the gun. So we are really trying to identify the proposed site, and that is because when you tell them, the KEO, this is the site with the name, address, and whatever you are planning, the KEO basically needs to go and double check if there is already any kind of certificate in place for that site for that. So, and if this is basically really where it goes for the KEO to keep very good bookkeeping, especially for the kingdom who have very high numbers of event and practices. So it's really checking for existing certificates. And if there is already a current certificate, for that, just that date need to be added. And that basically, then it's easy to go and it's a good go for that. If there is not a current certificate, the KEO really needs to go and check how many certificates are still available that have not been assigned to future events. And is there one certificate they have left to give to something that was maybe unplanned? If they are, and before I actually would go and say you can go and do this, really to go and check if there is a different site available, maybe something really close by within a couple of miles, that maybe a neighbor group could host that equestrian activity and put it on their activity, do that addendum I basically was called, instead of that new location. Maybe we could use already an existing location. And again, it's a lot of work for the KEO. That's the reason why ahead planning will be crucial. And if there's not any ways that we can consolidate to a different location, then it basically really needs to be checking if there's another certificate available. If there's an unused certificate remaining that can be given to that new group and that event, then it can be basically issued to that group. If there is not another certificate available at that time, unfortunately, we kind of have to deny it. We need to go and change. And again, if we get from the insurance that we can add certificates to whatever cost, and who is responsible for the cost, that probably will change. But as of right now, basically, the hosting group can still run the event, but just not the equestrian for that. And again, that might need to be updated if we find out from the insurance if we can buy additional certificates for whatever price. And then final approval, KAO says, okay, you can go and do the group. You either get a newer certificate or you have already a certificate, or we add you to that existing certificate. You can go and submit your bid. And this is really something where we need to say when we are planning for events, because there's so much double checking right now involved, that we need to have extra time because we all are busy, we all have lives, and we need to make sure that UKEO has time to check it and has time to also maybe finding a different location and finding maybe an alternative way with that. And then if the KO has not approved your bid, and I'm not 100% sure how we communicate that, because at the end right now, I think I mentioned it at the beginning, we asking the insurance companies to check with me before they approve an equestrian event for next year. So it's a lot of micromanaging, and I apologize, but this is kind of what we think, at least at the beginning of this change, how we can make sure we all doing the best to keep this program alive. So for the KO, record keeping is going to be a must. I'm going to find a great way for us to communicate. You say certificates are allowed to him, her, whatever that event. And obviously I'll keep records on my side that to make sure we're not wasting anybody's time or certificates and money for that. I do have a little flow chart here because I'm a visual person, so much easier than reading. So basically, from your hosting group, anybody, you need to get approval from UKEO. They are checking there's an equestrian certificate available. If yes, approve the bid. If no, is there any kind of alternate site that is already insured? If yes, and you can use that site, approve the bid. If not, do you have an unused certificate? If yes, you can approve the bid. If no, decline the activity. That is basically how everything will go. Again, it's time consuming. It's a lot of micromanaging, and I'm going to be here to help everybody with the transition. But as of right now, this is how it is. And I think there's a lot of chats. Does anybody want to summarize or?
I've been trying to answer some of the questions in chat.
Yeah.
One of the questions is whether or not if there was a fire or something, could we move the location? We will definitely ask to see if that can just be swapped out. In the past, you have to get a new certificate, but since we have this new cap, we'll see whether or not they can swap it out, but we'll have to ask. Someone asked about doing authorizations via video in remote areas. We did put in the new handbooks, which was approved, an option to do authorization by video. What is not clear is whether or not the site needs to be an official practice or not. So I am working with the Society Seneschal on trying to get that answer clarified on whether or not we can do authorizations at unofficial events. So it's been a topic for the last 6 months. So we're still trying to sort that one out.
Yeah. And I thought Tinek had something popping up as well, which, let me see. Yes, thanks, Tinek. If you do know you have maybe 4, that would be for the KEOs, or you know you don't need that certificate for that year because your barony or your group decided not to host the event for whatever reason, then please let us know. And I have a running list right now on how many, I call them extra certificates. They're not extras because most kingdoms getting a cut in their current running events, and I'm asked all the KEOs, and they have been really diligent on working with their marshals to consolidate and checking which practices or which events can be moved, and so we get some extra certificates while we are working that, and those extras will be allocated to kingdoms or groups who really need an extra one to keep the program going because of logistics or whatever. For right now, it is our is our wishes that the big events, especially those multi-kingdom events, mounted war games, Gulf Wars, Western War, the multi-kingdom big horse events, to keep them all active. So definitely the ones who have been established and they have all the horses for most of the society showing up, we don't want to cancel it. And I know some kingdoms have like 40 years and 20-year and other anniversaries coming up. And we are also working with them that they can include horses when they do have a milestone like that they want to celebrate. So then if they need an extra event because it is a 20-year or 40-year celebration of their kingdom, and these are all the different things we're currently working out as well. So definitely for the big events and for those practices who have been running and always well attended, and especially if you have like, and I'm just saying basically for me, I used to run my practice from Easter until Thanksgiving every weekend. Every Wednesday, every Saturday, I had open dates basically for practices. The practices who are continuously happening every week, every month, they have a better chance to continue because it's not once a year a practice, if that made sense. Alina, go ahead. And I can't hear you. And I still can't hear you. I don't see you muted, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So since we've been kind of going towards the fundraising, I had it basically also here on my little PowerPoint, but I don't have to share it. But we can go. Point 2 was basically, I mentioned it kind of while I was talking, consolidation, teamwork, work together, talk to each other. This is really a group effort to keep our program alive as much as we can. And cost boundaries, this has nothing to do anymore, but my barony, my ego, I want to do things. This is really working with each other, for each other, to keep as much going as we can. Okay, so for fundraising for the group, so we basically had $600, and I know some kingdoms have more money, some groups have more monies, and they say some kingdoms like say I can sponsor our kingdom championship, one certificate, or different kingdoms have different funds, or different groups have different funds. When we are planning to support the certificate, there is possibility of fundraising. In general, if a fund is raised for the community, for everybody to be used, it's generally allowed, but be sure before you plan any fundraising to check with your seneschals from your group and your exchequer from your groups, as well as with your kingdoms, to follow their regulation before you do any fundraising for the equestrian team, for the group to cover insurance, or anything like that. And Melissa, so for me, I am not the exchequer expert. We had an exchequer here a couple months ago to talk about fundraising specifically in a meeting, but I know there are very specific rules and regulations out there. So we can raise fund. Most of the time, we can't just do a GoFundMe group. I think there was some regulations on it. But as a auction, we see sometimes for the royals. So far as I know, if it is for the group, it's so for the everybody within that group, it cannot be for one specific thing. Most of the time, it can be, but I am not the exchequer or the seneschal in all the rules and regulations purpose for that. So, Mishi, you wanted to go and talk about fundraising. Anything you wanted to bring up for that?
It wasn't anything in particular that I wanted to bring up. I know that, and so I think part of something to keep in mind is it is my understanding, and I'm not an exchequer, that different states also have different rules around fundraising. So I know that in Maryland we have different rules than in other states around what we're allowed or not allowed to do in the SCA to fundraise. So that's something to keep in mind. But no, truly, I just wanted to make sure we had time to discuss this. I know that we could have gotten bogged down in some of the other topics of tonight. So that's really where I was.
Okay. And I just saw a message actually in here, and I'm just going to, it was towards me, but I'm just going to address this real quick. Sorry, Mishi, this is back to the insurance as a global, but I got a lot of private messages for that. I addressed it, I think, in the KEO group, but not maybe with everybody. So, and again, this is actually thank you to Mistress Arabella, because again, she did all the heavy lifting and you can talk for yourself, when she did check for different insurance, trying to find a less expensive one, finding different ways to minimize the expenses. Everything basically was tried as in finding a different agency, company, finding or itemizing it for different activities while we practice, or an event like games might be less expensive than jousting or mounted combat.
We
or
have not
some
looked into that. We basically submitted to 3 different equestrian insurance companies, ones that specifically did equestrian insurance, like Markel. There's also one insurance company that Australia uses, Locock uses, and so they know what we do. So we also went with them, but they have a very generic form. So they just want to know what type of activities. We have not looked into if we just had one type of activity or not. That also the insurance rates, if you read the insurance forms and you look at what they're asking about, the risks tend to be more, some of it's about the activities you're doing. Is it a dressage, or is it, barrel racing, or is it just, 4-H pony club? But one of the biggest drivers is mostly the site. What does the site look like? What amenities are at the site? Who has access to the site? How many buildings are there? Is there arena? Are there outbuildings? Very concerned about the buildings and what amenities are actually at a site. So we don't, and so the thing is, we don't have that clarification. So I do have permission to call the insurance companies. I'm going to call them to see whether or not trying to do a smorgasbord approach might help, but that would be very complicated with 60 different locations trying to come up with a menu of, arena versus not, an open field or not. And okay, well, it's cheaper if you have, just a dirt arena in the middle of nowhere. But now, so you can get that cheaper, but now do we charge $3,000 for the people who have the fancy place? So, so we'll be looking into to see if there's some options, but we did with at least 3 different companies, and they came back with higher, either no, right, or they came back with higher rates than our current insurance company. I also have checked around local groups around here, and a lot of it depends on what part of the country that you're in. But around here in Colorado, which is incredibly horse friendly, and we do all sorts of stupid things on our horses, they don't actually require riding helmets for kids, okay? But the insurance rates are in the, between the $1,000 and $1,500 range for a certificate for the local clubs, or, the arena that, so they're using one place that all year, and having 4 shows a month. And it's roughly ballpark to what we're paying. So we've just been, and I've been checking with my local groups with prices over the last 4 years. The same insurance for the same place went from $600 a year to $1,400 a year. So there is a national wide increase happening for insurance in the equestrian community. It's not just our SCA insurance carrier going nuts. It seems to be fairly widespread.
Tinek, did you have another question? Thanks, Arabella. I appreciate you sharing that because you did all that work.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, but I was wondering, would it make any difference to the insurance if the site we were using was privately owned by an SCA member?
I don't think that makes a difference.
So, no,
go for it, Arabella.
Yeah, because so remember the insurance covers the site. So many practices are at places owned by SCA people. So that we've asked about that. It doesn't seem to be a big issue. The biggest thing is just to make sure that if you're having a practice at your place and you own it, you really need to check with your insurance company to make sure that they're okay with these things happening. But yeah, whether or not the site's owned by an SCA, I know in the past that they said that you couldn't, but that hasn't been an issue. We've been checking that. There's lots of events that happen at SCA members' personal locations these days.
Yeah. And Jacqueline or Asinara.
Yeah, I recently had to get equine insurance for a clinic I was running mundanely. And all they cared about was the site and things on the site, like whether dogs were permitted on the site, whether alcohol was permitted on the site. So unless we want to have local groups or kingdoms have to deal with their insurance themselves. So this isn't dealt with on the SCA level. I don't think you're going to get a price break because, like, I think what everyone's bringing up here, all they care about is very site specific details that you're not going to be able to give, even at the, quite frankly, almost it'd be difficult even at the kingdom level to give because our sites are so varied in terms of, what is at the site and what is expected from the site in terms of the insurance. And I nearly backed out of the clinic because of how painful it was to acquire the insurance. And I've done this before and it was never this bad, 6 years ago.
Michi.
It helps when I unmute. So one thing that was raised in the SBA Equestrian Discord, and then again here in the chat, was there was a couple different questions that were put out about, how do we help grow programs? So again, we're trying to prioritize insurance policies for locations that have multiple horses, but if we have a new site or a new area that needs growth, right? Like kind of how do we balance that need with how it seems these insurance policies are being allocated? There's also, going back to the fundraising question, the flip side of what would it be like, is it possible to get a process for donation letters from individuals that are willing to buy this insurance for the SCA? Like, can they specify that?
And again, for that, from my point of view, I think the limit on certificate right now is maybe currently a bigger issue than the finances, because I heard a lot of people with fundraising, some people might be willing to pay for it or groups would be paying for it. But to work around the limit we have until we really know from the insurance, is this a hard cap? If there is no additional one, then we are just really locked in. And I totally hear you, Michi, with growing and promoting. And I don't have an answer right now. We might see what this year will bring or the next year will bring, and we need to revisit, or I will work really close with the KEOs to see where this is going. And as soon we find more information or better ways, I'll let everybody know. But for right now, if the cap is 60, this is what we have, and we need to go current things going on, practices or events that will not happen next year or will happen differently, because we will not have those 17 additional certificates as we used for the last couple of years, 15 or 17.
No, so, I'm talking about even for the $600, like even because like as an event steward, right? Like I'm used to working within very tight margins, where I have run multiple events that were equestrian focused, where we did not hit that, or we barely hit that $600 margin. And if we're tacking on an extra $400 for insurance that's going into the event budget, like what if I had someone that was coming in who said, hey, I don't want to spend energy fundraising, but I'll pay $600 for the insurance for this event. And it was one of the designated policies. Like,
so as long the insurance is covered, who pays for the insurance? If that's your marshal in charge or a patron of the event, I don't think that matters who picks up the bill. It needs to be paid for. I speculate that with most events, $600 for the equestrian will not be budgeted into the event fee unless you have a really big event. Like golf was a bit larger event with multiple activities.
I mean,
So,
it's policy in Atlantia to make it part of your event budget.
okay, well, that
Or
was
I shouldn't say policy. It's just a norm. It's the norm.
okay.
It's not written in law, but it's the norm to put it as part of your event budget.
Okay, and if your kingdom has a specific unwritten or written rule, that is then for your KEO, for your seneschal and kingdom to maybe revisit those regulations for your kingdom specific. It's not a society rule.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
And I
we
think
have
there
no-
was another question that I'm perhaps going back in the chat because a couple of them were laid out. Another one was, what is the likelihood of more of the social media, such as the Discord or various Facebook groups, being able to be switched to unofficial so we can discuss unofficial meetups? I'm not going to use the P word. That may not require insurance, but could foster community and let people play games and such.
Arabella, do you want to answer that? I'm not really. I know if you mention SCA, it needs to be official. If you want to have a gathering to play medieval games on horseback, you just have a gathering. You don't have an SCA practice.
So sorry, what was the question again?
Can we change some of the status of some of the groups, the Facebook groups, Discord, to be unofficial for promotional reasons to help avoid the insurance?
Right. There's rules on the media about whether or not it's official or not and what you can say on it. Just because you say it's an official doesn't necessarily mean it's an official. It kind of falls under if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? But what we have done in the past is that if you have an unofficially practice, right, you could just say, hey, you put in very bold letters at the very beginning. This is not an official SCA practice. And you say, hey, I'm running medieval games, come and hit things at my house. We've been doing that for years. Lots of other groups have been doing that. We've been posting it on normal chat channels, that's as long as you make it abundantly clear, and I always say just giant bold letters at the beginning of your post. This is not an official SCA practice, or this is unofficial, right?
We get clarification
But
on
posting
that.
things on our websites that are of interest of other people to come to has always been done. You just have to make it abundantly clear it's not official.
A lot of times I just really was like medieval gathering and SCA, welcome for SCA participants, but not SCA official or an SCA event. Alina, you have your hands up for longer, so let me get to you.
I do. And can you all hear me at the moment?
Yes, thank you.
So for Ontier, this is where I have a bit of a struggle. It's not anything that anybody's brought forward today, except for the fact that for Ontier, for our championship, we actually changed the rules last year that it actually happens over multiple events. So my question to the big team is that even though I'm trying to cover all the events when I send in my report, for Ontier, there's multiple events that we're actually trying to promote for equestrian activities, and it absolutely exceeds the availability to have 3 certificates, and they're absolutely each event, like I promoted in the chat. for a minimum for on tier for next year, I'm seeing based on practices, at least 8 certificates that are needed. 3 of them have to do with practices, one of which will cover one event, but everything outside of that is not in the practice events that we have. So how do we move forward to actually support everything to make sure that we've covered everything so that we can actually have a Kingdom Equestrian champion?
And this is just because I do know your virtual program because I copied that for or made it then for Ethelmarks for that. If you change some of those, do they all need to be official practices or not? I'm thinking about talking with KEO of Ethelmark if we can make it our virtual program for unofficial as well and out of kingdom events. I don't know if that would work for you. That is just like brainstorming what I am proposing to do. And again, the numbers that are emailed out by earlier today, I think it was, for
Yes.
to the KEOs, they are just working numbers in progress. I did note down your numbers, and as some kingdoms don't need as many as they originally thought, I am readjusting the allotments if we have something coming out, give and take to make sure. I don't want to kill somebody's program. I want to make it a keep alive. So that's the reason why I asked all the KEOs to do that work with your marshals to find out what can be consolidated and what not. So when some people did, and I had some kingdoms email me, we could consolidate, we reduced our numbers. So I have a couple extras right now floating around. So I don't want any of the KEOs and kingdoms right now freaking out because of the numbers I gave you that is proposed for next
Absolutely.
year.
Yeah,
So,
and
and
absolutely. There's absolutely definitely, specific events in Ontario that have, just to give an example to the known world, we have specific events that have horses, and we have a minimum of 3 to 15 horses, depending on the event. I don't want to, restrict any of those events. And I think that we can actually work together to make sure that they're actually accommodated for, but at the same time, this is going to overlap our, I'm going to air quote, requirement of 3
yeah.
that there definitely needs to be a conversation.
Yeah,
in the back
and
end.
additionally, when we have those conversations with trying to make it, always making sure. So let's say, and I'm just giving you a number for easy calculations. So, and not just you, anybody. So if you want to go and have, let's say, even just 2 events, and you say, okay, kingdom, you or group, you want to have 2 events, can you go and budget $1,200 within your group for equestrian insurance plus everything else? So we all have dreams and we all would like something. Yes, we can raise money. Maybe there's a person who is willing to pay that money for the equestrians, but overall, can we afford to have 3 different practice locations and say we are now $1,800 for having practices in our kingdom? Who is willing to pay for it or not? So when we have those discussions with the marshals, with the events, with the groups, with the kingdoms, it is, yes, the certificates are limited, but also it's a budgeting program. That's the reason why I asked everybody needs to have that conversation, because I speculate there might be some group who just say we can't afford it or we don't want to waste money. And this is just the conversations I've been asking for that, to be proactive to get started on those.
And
So
absolutely.
quickly, I have to jump
I
off
agree.
because I have to go deal with a rapier issue, another meeting. I don't know if there's any last questions for me. It's like, yeah, guys, I know this is super hard, reducing the numbers and trying to contain it, but we were in jeopardy of not being able to have equestrian at all. We have to contain the costs on how much it was impacting the main office. The amount the equestrian insurance has grown is being it was becoming a larger and larger chunk, which if you look at the numbers, I mean, yes, horses bring in a huge amount to our events, but it's still a smaller number. So the number 60 was come to, yes, it's fewer than the normal numbers that we normally have, but it was a number that created a budget that the society main office was willing to pony up to subsidize, and also recognize it would contain the costs, and more importantly, it would ensure a viable medieval equestrian community in the United States and Canada. So yes, we hate to limit growth in any particular one area, but it's about making sure that we save medieval equestrian activities for this continent as a whole, and not just one area. So I really appreciate everyone working and ebbing and flowing, and people said we can reduce, we can consolidate, we can give up a couple. Bless you all. Thank you. I mean, it's huge. We recognize you're giving up a lot by reducing the number of events that you're having, but hopefully with these 60, we can maintain a vibrant equestrian community here in the United States and Canada. And as usual in equestrian, sometimes it increases in some areas and it always decreases in other areas. It's always cyclic. So thank you all for jumping in and trying to help out. Gesa, I know this got dumped in your lap to try and coordinate all of this.
Okay.
But thank you all. I know it's super tough, but if we didn't figure out a way to contain the costs, we were in danger of not having it at all.
Okay. And thanks for jumping in here and helping us. I appreciate you, Arabella.
Arabella, can I ask one quick question before you go? This is Elsie. Is it possible, some of the things that I'm seeing in the chat and some of the things we're coming up with are people who are accepting things, but there are barriers that are society related that, we could each go fight it at our own kingdom level, but if the kingdom or the society officers can get a single policy for us about things like donation letters and some of the conflicts about what if a group already has the site reserved, but then they won't let another group have equestrian there are some potential conflicts that are going to get in the way of us trying to do what you guys are asking for. And I think we could use some, is it possible to find a way to get support from you guys for those things that we need to take it up to society?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the Society Seneschal Stacy is working very closely with us on this, and so yes, having some way to help overcome some of these challenges is something that they would definitely be able to help out with at the society level.
Is there a best way to communicate that to the two of you, just through our kingdom officers, or do you guys want letters? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I get them finally, and I apologize. I did not know for about 3-4 months that my emails didn't reach anybody because I was wondering, it's so quiet. And then I learned to check on Facebook to check if emails come through. So I apologize for some of my inability to, I actually don't know where those emails went. But yes, if there is restrictions, I mean, always work with your KEOs. I had so far really good responses with the KEOs I have been working with. But if you have specific limitations within your kingdom specific that obviously I'm not aware of it, like Michi mentioned some, or Elsie, you mentioned some, and you feel like a more open approach would be beneficial to do what we are asking to do right now, shoot an email to Arabella and to me. And if you CC us on it, we are normally really good right now with responding. Sometimes we just have too many at the same time. But I'm trying to get to them in a more timely manner. If I don't respond, send me something on Facebook, because right now that is always a good backup for me. And I now, Michi mentioned, I know Elsie is on it. I am not a Discord person, but during PenSig meeting, it was suggested to open up an SCA Discord platform. It has been opened, and not a lot of people, I think, have been starting looking. I just looked briefly. Michi, I appreciate you trying to help organizing. I think LT has been starting to organize some of this too. I posted the link on Facebook, SCA Equestrian page. If you want to go and be more active in the Discord, and Discord is your thing, again, it's not mine, but feel free to talk, to navigate. I do appreciate some people see things posted in Discord and email it then to me, hey, so I can go and be proactive to jump into something. If you see something, it has, you think I should respond to it before a couple months, then just let me know to check it. Big thing is my work computer does not support the Discord. I need to go and do it over my phone, and I struggle with that. And I never used Discord before actually we're trying to plan 60 year. So, and I can double copy and paste the Discord link into the SCA page again. I think it's actually under the event page as well, but I can go and make sure after the meeting, I post it as well on the SCA Equestrian page. And again, everybody's welcome if you want something. Otherwise, I think Elsie and Michi are also admins and they like electronics. So I delegate you guys. Shoot them a message what you maybe want to be organized in the Discord. If you want to have a private little fundraising, brainstorming, I also okay with doing. Thank you, Elsie. That's the Discord thing. And if you want to go and brainstorm, the big thing really is state regulations. Make sure you follow your state's law. Make sure you follow your kingdom, seneschals, and exchequer regulations, as well as the ones for your group. If it's specifically fundraising for within your group or shire, if it is within your kingdom, make sure you coordinate with them and always ask for pre-approval before you get started. Don't ask for forgiveness. That doesn't work well. It is just one of those. I'm normally the person who asks for forgiveness, not for approval, but don't do that when you start to do fundraising. There's really regulations, and I wasn't even aware of state has rules and regulations as well when it comes to fundraising. So make sure you get knowledgeable, especially if you're one of those kingdoms who crosses borders within the United States and Canada, as well as across borders, multiple states, that you follow whatever law you have. Okay, I see so for me, reading all the chats, I can't read and type at the same time. So if you have an additional question, or you can answer each other, that's fine with me too. We have about 20 minutes left. Any specific questions for me? If you have questions coming up, feel free to PM me. If you don't do Facebook, you can email me for the Equestrian on the SCA.org page. I'd be more active, checking it more frequently. So I'm trying to be there. If you have like and the ones who do plan January practices and activities, please merely make sure you're contacting UKEO because January, February, we really need to make sure we get you taken care of while we might figure out the rest of the year because you're just around the corner. Maria, I actually see Cameron unmuted himself. Give me a
Thanks.
minute, Maria.
I do have a quick note, specifically about using Zoom for this meeting. I know I got on late, and there was a member of the Barony of Lionsgate, in fact, our marshal, our equestrian marshal, wasn't able to join this chat because it was required that we were asked to have a commercial account in order to join this chat.
Oh.
So just a thing. Thankfully, I have one for my business, so I was able to log in eventually. But she wasn't able to be a part of this, and thankfully, she told me about this conversation. So, anyways, I don't know why. I don't know if it's don't know if y'all just don't like Canadians, but but something. So just letting you know that was an issue for us up here, anyways.
Yeah, I don't have a commercial account, but the link on the event didn't work. Someone had to private message me the link to the Zoom.
Interesting. Thank you for letting me know. It's always the same link. I'm using, that's my private link from the university or from college I'm teaching. I never knew that you need to, I like this one because it's free. I can record and I have no fees and nothing to this because it's given by college. And I did not know that you needed to have a commercial account because my students, and I do my training. So that's the first time I hear that. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I maybe put the wrong link into their number for that.
It also either asked for that or it asked for my my college credentials to get in.
Thank you for letting me know. There might have been some changes that I'm not aware of it. That's the first time I hear that. But thank you so much. Yeah, making sure for that. And I know a lot of people have been here before, so I don't know. Maria, how about thank you. Thanks for waiting.
So I have a quick question. I'm as KEO, I'm running a meeting on December 13th. And it's our larger annual equestrian meeting for Kingdom of Callantyre. It's open to anyone, but what I want to ask really is what can I say? Can I pretty much say everything that we talked about in this meeting? Okay. Well, I know, but I don't want to I don't want to give people any misinformation.
No,
does that make sense?
This needs to be public now. We need to talk. We need to navigate. If they have additional question that you cannot answer as a KO or you would like me to join as well, send me a reminder and I'm definitely, and that goes for everybody. If you need society support because there's some difficult people, because I definitely had a lot of difficult situations or phone calls or messages in the last couple of weeks. I'm totally okay to support you and give you my German accent to support. I have no issues with that.
Okay, because I mean, it'll be over Zoom as well, because it'll be in person and Zoom. So I'm doing like a weird setup, but okay. All right, just wanted to double check. Thank you.
If I have time and not teaching or anything or doing groups, unfortunately, I work a lot. I'm definitely willing to help.
Okay, well, I'll shoot you the link when I got it posted.
Okay, thanks. Tanak.
I was just going to say on that that make sure that that you say that if you talk about this protocol that we've been going over, make sure you specify that it's only a draft. It is still just a draft, right?
Correct.
Yeah, just so make sure everybody understands that. That's all I would suggest.
So it has not been approved, but we haven't finalized it yet because we still have a lot of open questions, like I mentioned earlier, for the insurance from the society, like society questions. We are still waiting to hear the answer about practices, unofficial, and possible doing authorizations at unofficial practices. So when we don't do because of this, um, as well as is that, and from the insurance, is that a hard cap? And if not, what would be additional insurance costing us? And then for Kingdom or Society, if we need additional, are they willing to work with us? So these are all answers we do not have at this time. I feel like there was another one, but I can't think about it right now. So when we have all of those answers from the insurance and the society or the board voted on the authorization question, then we will go over the protocol again. And can finalize it. And after that, before we can make it an official new rule, the board has to approve it.
I know they're meeting in January. Do you know if it'll be brought up in January?
Depends if we have the answer.
Oh, fair. Okay.
I hate to be vague and I hate to micromanage, but I found, because I do find we are all adults, I should trust everybody to be responsible and to keep us alive. But for the next couple of months, and I'm sorry, KEOs, you got really tired of me. I will go and micromanage until we get more information and see. I kind of hope maybe it's less strict when we may be 6 months into it. But I can't predict the future. Tinek, did you have another question or your hand is still up?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. There you go. Okay, anybody else? We still have 15 minutes. I was worried it's going to go till midnight.
I have a quick comment.
Okay, hey Kathleen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, how can I help?
So I happen to be down at the Henry Ford Museum here in Michigan a couple weeks ago, and they had a hobby horse champion there doing demos. And I would suggest to everybody that is trying to grow your program to reach out to the United States Hobby Horse Association and see if you can invite those kids to a practice or something like that. They do jousting by hobby horse and they have a blast. And they are, most of them cannot afford a horse, to be quite frank, but they are into this. And the young lady that I was talking to, I think she's either 13 or 14, and she has 44,000 followers on her YouTube channel. She's too young to be on the other channels. And girls were coming up to her at the museum to have their picture taken with her and her hobby horse. And then they were out there making little jousting sticks and going through a practice course. So if you're looking to grow and trying to do something different and perhaps fundraise, I would certainly look at the Hobby Horse organization. They are growing very, very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that we have the championships again here in Michigan next year. They've already announced them for 2026. So
Thanks,
it is
yes.
a huge thing.
And we started that 2 years now at Pensic War. We had the Hobby Horse Challenge. I did a couple of them at my farm, doing some local events or indoor where there's no horses, like Ice Dragon or so, just to have fun entertainment for the kids at events and to promote it. And actually, in Ethelmark, our youth marshal or youth coordinator, she actually invited the youth to do the hobby horses one year while we actually had equestrian championship. They did the entertainment for the crown in between. So definitely, and we have like golf wars, the page tourney, and I've seen it on other events. So really, thanks, Kathleen. The in this chat, she posted that. So definitely, really great suggestions on how to grow it, how to bring it out, how also to have non-equestrian interested SEA members play on hobby horses. So we did like a head-to-head challenge where squires could challenge their knights, or partners could challenge each others, or where kids challenge their parents or siblings. So there's a lot of fun to have, where basically Baron against Baroness kind of thing. Really fun, where people go and have fun with the hobby horses. Always some nice entertainment if you can't have horses, and still to show what we do. So that's a great suggestion. I love it. Okay. If nobody else has any questions, if you think about anything else, feel free to reach out to me via Facebook or email, what works best for you. And I help everybody work out. Otherwise, just before you plan anything, do anything, contact your KEO, because they are the ones I'm coordinating with. And but if you need something specific, it's nice to ask your KEO first. If you're not the KEO and you need to or you're planning something, it's nice sometimes to go through the channels of command, but I'm always there as well, and to help out with whatever you need. Maria, I think you were.
I'm just going to shamelessly plug that I have found a lead on 2 different sites here in Callantyre, one of which would make an amazing known world symposium thingamajigger for equestrian and other animal related activities. So if anybody has an interest in wanting to do that, I can get you hooked up with the site, and they're really, really nice. It's a trail riding place. It's a smaller trail riding place, so you're not going to get a bunch of public. They're really good people. They have a big hall. They have a dirt arena. They have 300 miles of trails with 3 different waterfalls scattered throughout the property. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know and we can work on it together. Yay.
And again, I'm probably going to have another meeting in the known world meeting. So these are monthly Zoom meetings every first Tuesday. I probably visit the insurance and planning a couple more times this year. And we didn't actually mention that today, but our equestrian handbook is supposed to be finalized or goes through the board in February or in January. Hopefully we can release it in February. Then our new equestrian handbook will be out if that goes through. And then we will have in our virtual meetings going over the new handbook for us as well. Cope, you had your hand up. I did not want to miss you.
Oh, my question was answered in the chat. Thank you, Gaysa.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was your question?
My question was, if we had $1,200, can we just get another certificate? But now I'm reading that there are only 60 certificates available.
As of right now,
right.
We don't know if it's a hard cap or not.
Okay. So I will wait until we have more information.
And these are emails out to the insurance. It takes a little bit to get answers. I'm not sure why, but hopefully we have it eventually. And as soon we find out, I normally give all the new updates to the KEOs, and if you have those questions, I just speculate your KEOs will know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there is no other question, I'm going to stop the recording.